Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get started. I know a few people have introduced themselves in the chat. Feel free to keep doing that as we get started. I'll also put our resources for today in the chat and show you around a little bit before we get started. So this is all about personalized learning with Padlet. And we're trying out a new tool this week. On Wednesday, we were in here as well in Big Marker instead of in Zoom. So it looks pretty similar. You'll have all the same functionality in terms of chatting and questioning, but there's a few different things in the layout as well. So let me just show you a quick screenshot of that. So this is actually a screenshot from Wednesday, but it just shows you around the interface that you're in right now. So you'll note over here on the right side, you have your chat. Some people are already typing it down here in the lower right. You also have some other tabs up here at the top of the chat. So the Q&A is going to be really useful. If you have a question you want to make sure we see, click into the Q&A and ask it there. And then we also have handouts, and that just means resources. So the landing page link that I put in the chat is also over in handouts if you need to find it again. And then this little tiny CC button will allow you to put captions on in any language. If you'd like to have some captions in a different language, try that CC button. And then lastly, down here, we have some emoji reactions. Feel free to play with those, which are always fun as well. Okay. All right, I'll put the resources one more time in the chat and then we'll get into it. So we are going to talk about personalized learning today. But before I get started, just a quick introductions. My name is Zareen Levien. I'm the Education Marketing Manager here at Padlet. Before I was at Padlet, I was teaching in San Francisco School District about 16 years. I taught all different levels, and for a long time, I was a digital learning coach. So I got to have a lot of fun with students like these in the picture. We used Padlet and many other tools to really engage students. And I actually ran a program called Personalized Learning Environments. So I've thought a lot about how to personalize learning and what that means and how digital tools can help you in that journey. So excited to share some ideas today. And we also have Julia here with us.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia. I'm the product marketing manager at Padlet. But formerly, I was on the support team, and I've been around for 5 years. So I just come to these to see if anyone can stump me in the chat with any questions or present new ideas, because I've seen it all in my time here. So if you have any questions or have anything to share, put it in the chat, and I'll be managing that. I'll throw it back over to you, Zareen.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Julia's seen, yes, all the questions of all different kinds, I'm sure, over the years. Great, excited to get started today. So we're going to spend a few minutes getting started. I'll do like a really quick show you Padlet for those who are newer to Padlet, and then we'll get into the meat of the session, the personalized learning ideas, and there's always resources. So feel free to ask questions in the Q&A or say hello in the chat as we go along. Okay. So first, just to talk about what is personalized learning, we're talking about personalized learning in Padlet today. People define it in many different ways. So here's how I'm going to define it kind of simply, using the unique needs, interests, and learning styles of each student to help them be successful. So we know we have a diverse set of students whenever we're in a room teaching, whether they have different interests or different levels, or they just like different things. And so I'll talk about a few different ways to learn about them and to customize their learning with the tools that we have in Padlet that I hope make it kind of easy and fun for you and your students. So let's go over to Padlet for a minute. So if you come to padlet.com, you can create a free account if you don't already have one. Anyone can create a free account and you get up to 3 Padlets for free. If you find you need more Padlets, you can look at our subscriptions, but it's a great way to start to make your free account and just start trying it out. And you also have access to all the features with your free account. So you're not limited. Anything I show you today, you can use. You have a few different ways you can make Padlets. So on the make page here is where you'll spend most of your time. You can make a blank board, which is kind of like our standard Padlet. That's what I'm on right here with these boxes. That's a board. I can sandbox, and that's a whiteboard. So I'll show you some examples of those, similar to Google Jamboard if you used to use that. Lots of fun tools and flexible layout for that. And then down here, you can even make a Padlet by prompting with AI. So you can tell us what you want to make, whether you want to make a lesson plan, a reading list, or even a map. And you can put a prompt into AI and it'll make the Padlet for you. And then you can also edit that Padlet once it's created. All right, so I'll show you this first example. So let me come down over here to slideshow. So the first question I always think is important that is easy to kind of skip over or do quickly is, who are your students and who are they really, and learning a lot about them. And I know that when I was teaching over the year, I would learn more and more about my students. And I always loved that kind of last month of the year, not because I was about to go to summer, although that was fun too, but because I knew my students so well that I didn't have to get which things were going to work for them or what they liked. And we had a lot of connections and a lot of things we could talk about. So at the beginning of the year, or even if you're in the middle of your year already, trying to gather up that information about them and have them know each other as well, so that they have lots of points of connection, and you can have deeper conversations and make your learning more customized to the things that they love or the things that they know about. So this first one, is an all about me page. So a simple whiteboard, students could fill in their name, their birthday, their favorite activities. You could fill this in with different categories too. So this is probably a little bit more for our, elementary, middle school students, but you could make a different version of this that's more complicated or different categories. So let me show you how you would make this. So coming back to our make page, if I come to a blank sandbox, so this is a whiteboard, and it's just a little bit more open-ended. So when you first open up Sandbox, you have these templates at the bottom. So you can come to search all right here. Actually, it's already right here, but I'll show you if you search for all of these, you could do something like a Venn diagram or all these different built-in layouts you can make use of. If I scroll down to the bottom, I have one called All About Me. And so that's the one I was just showing you. If you want to change one of these things, like my favorite movies, I could come in here and change any of this text, any of these boxes. I could change the colors. So the templates are to get you started, but you can still change about them. So that's one thing you could assign to your students. And I'll share one more thing about this. If you wanted each of your students to have their own copy of this, that's also really easy to do in Padlet. You could share this link with them, and that means everyone could come onto the same Padlet. Or if I come to the share arrow here in the upper right, there's a special kind of link called an auto remake link right here. And so that means it's kind of like a forced copy. So you'll give them this link. So I'll copy this link here. And then you say a remake is in progress. So it's making an individual copy of this template. So when you give that same link to all your students, and then they get their individual copy, and it's going to say their name in the upper right here. And then as a teacher, I have a list at the bottom of all the people who have made that. So Eliza's already made a copy of this, so I can click into hers, and then I'll be able to see what she did on this template. So that's handy tool. You can use that on any Padlet, this auto remake link. And once again, that's if I click on the share arrow, that's where I find that. And I come all the way down to auto remake link. So that's a good one. If you have a template and you want to share it with everybody, then each person can have their own individualized copy. I'll show you a couple more examples for things you might want to learn about your students. So this is a regular Padlet board that's in the rows format. So it has a bunch of rows. And this was from in Korea who had this idea that every student could make their life timeline. And these are mostly just stock images that students have chosen. So when you're on a Padlet, for those who are newer, you can come to the plus button at the bottom, and you can make your own post here. You can type text in here, and then you can also look for images. So I could look for an image of a baby if I wanted to, and I could put that as kind of my stock image for my own timeline, or you could put real pictures in there too. But this is a fun way for each student to kind of share about important events in their life. So you can see they put their name in the section, and then every student had a chance to collaborate on this board and share things about the important things that happened in their life. So that was a pretty fun example. This next one I did last year with some middle school students, and it was really fun just for us to be able to share music that we all liked. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to come over here and put this into the chat. So if you want to come join me on this Padlet, you can add your own favorite song in here. So same thing as before, if you want to hit the plus button here in the lower right. And this time I've just put this one kind of attachment, a Spotify music link. So you can click on the plus button here and then come to the orange Spotify button. And then you can search for any song. So I'll search for the song I was just playing as we started out the session here. And then I'm going to publish. And now I have a song here on the page. So this is a fun thing to do with students. They can share all of their favorite songs. They can play each other's favorite songs. And then you can even come and comment on it or like it. If I want to put a heart on there or say something about somebody's song. So go ahead and click on the plus button here. I see people getting onto the Padlet. And then make sure you click on the orange button next. And then click another like. Feel free to add more than one song if you want to try it out. And pretty soon we'll have a whole collection of songs. While you're adding some songs and figuring out some fun things to add, I'll show you how I customize this post box. So you'll see when I click on this one, I just have one attachment type. There are tons of attachment types in Padlet, but I've limited and customized this box. So for the owner of the Padlet, you can click on plus fields in this post box, and this customize all the fields here. You can change the subject, you can change the attachments. So I'll click on that. I can change the title here if I wanted to. Favorite song, and you can see it updated here in the top of the box. I'll come back to fields, and I can also update the attachments here. And so here I can decide if I want to turn on all my attachments. So now you can see it looks a little different here. I can do any kind of attachment. And you can see also this updates right away. So I can even have something at the start of my lesson. So I'm going to put this Spotify link back on. And then if I want to open up the attachments later on, I can do that on the same Padlet and it will update instantly. Yeah, right. And so you could collect these songs from students, and then it would be fun to kind of put all of these into a playlist. And I like the idea of exporting into a full playlist as well. One feature you can turn on or off in settings, if I scroll down here, is moderation. So I can decide if I want to approve every post that goes live, and then I would put that on manual. Or if I don't care about approving things, I could turn it totally off. And the in-between option is this automatic moderation. We use AI with a tool called Hive to check that there's no inappropriate content in the images, videos, music, all of that. So that happens automatically. So that can be a nice in-between option if you don't need full moderation. Another thing that's kind of fun to do is manual moderation is if you don't want everyone to see each other's ideas at first, you can turn it on manual moderation. You'll see the submissions come in. And then when you're ready, you can approve all, and then everyone can see each other's ideas. The other thing you can try on here, you can see this is what happens when I want to approve a post. I get a little pink button there. I also get a pink button at the top of the page for approving all. If you like any of these songs, you can come over here and do a little reaction. You can even do an emoji reaction right here, or you can comment on it and say something about those songs. All right, well, thank you for playing along there. That's great. If you just joined, I'm going to go ahead and put our today's resources back in the chat so you can follow along with us. And we'll move on to the next section here. So I'm going to come back to my slideshow. So we're just talking about how to get to know your students. And then the second part I want to talk about is what will your students choose? So students lots of choice. We all like having options, right? We all like being able to choose the things that we like. And Padlet has a lot of that choice built in the kinds of attachments that you have. So I was just showing you the Spotify music attachment, and I'll show you a couple of other attachments too. So here is another sandbox page. You can see it's a whiteboard and it has a whole bunch of stuff on here. This one is all about my favorite superpowers. So let me just set something up here. So if I'm on this page, I have all these different tools on the right side. So I have a marker, I have a note, a shape, and you can see students have made use of all those different attachment types. So there's even some sound clips here. So this is an AI sound.
I will time travel.
And so you can add different kinds of attachments here. This is a video that makes use of our filters. You can see it's really small right here, but I could make that bigger too. So you could illustrate your thinking here, whatever your thinking is about your favorite superpower, or if you have a different question, students could illustrate their thinking with audio clips, with an AI voice, with video, or with a GIF or an image. So it has that choice built right in. So we're going to try this in a minute now. So I'm going to share this link, and I would love to know what your favorite superpower is. So let me put this link in the chat if you want to join us over here. So if you want to come and join us on this Padlet, you can come and play as well. Let me just, oh great, I see a lot of cursors on here. So come ahead over here and answer this question. If you could have any superpower, what would it be? And I want to encourage you to try out some of those different options. So try these tools over here. And this is just a playground for us. So don't be shy. You can draw, you can add shapes. Click on some of these attachment types as well. If you want to search for an image or an AI image, you can even make that. So I could come here and make an AI image of a person flying, or I could try some of the recording options. So I'll show you that in a minute. This is just taking a second to load. Yeah, flying just seems like a fun idea, doesn't it? So a lot of flying enthusiasts. So here are a couple of other images here. And then you can see things might land on top of each other, but you can't actually edit anyone else's response. So students can't edit each other's responses, but they might kind of land on top of each other. If you're feeling crowded on this first page or card, sandboxes also have multiple pages. So over here on the left, you can click to the second card, and you can add things over here also if you want to. Encourage you to try some of these other attachments too. Like a couple of the ones I was showing a video recorder. So the video recorder, and video recorders can have fun filters on them as well, which I'm not seeing right now, but you might see the filters show up right here. Look at that in a minute. You can also do something like an AI speech. So that was one of the examples that I showed you. If I type some text into here, and that text can be in any language, it'll actually just generate the audio for me. And then I'll make a little audio clip here on my sandbox. So great. Thank you for participating on here. Looks like people are having some fun thinking about the different superpowers that you might have. So yeah, this is something you can do with students. You can ask them a question like this about their favorite anything, or their what superpower they would have, or other hypothetical question. Or you could ask them something more about school. What's their favorite subject? Do they like working with groups? All those kinds of things. Oh, communicating with animals. That would be, I feel like I can almost do that with my cat, but if I could really understand her better. Okay, let me show you a couple other things. Feel free to keep playing on that page because it's really fun. But just thinking about choice again for students. So whether it's giving them a choice of attachment type, like in that example, or if you make a resource page like this, that's a page full of videos. So this might be for younger students, or you could also do something similar on any other topic. So these are all phonics videos. So you could give students a whole page full of videos that you've added with the sign here. And you could go to the YouTube option and find things that are relevant for your students. Or it could be links to websites or links to other resources. And then the last one I want to show you about coming up with different activities or kind of choice boards for students. I mentioned this earlier from the Make page. I have these AI recipes down here. So I can create a Padlet by prompting AI. So let's give it a try. So maybe I'm teaching English as a second language, and I want to come up with some fun activities for students to learn English. So again, you could put in any topic here. And I chose the class activity ideas Padlet. I could have also chosen something different, but thinking about offering lots of choices to students, I did that one. So it's going to take about 30 seconds. What's happening in the background here is we're using some AI tools. We use a combination of tools, ChatGPT and Claude, Gemini, Hive, and we have an educational model that comes up with the best results for teachers. So here we have a bunch of fun learning ideas that you might do for learning English. And you see it generated it pretty quickly. English music, video karaoke, or charades with phrases, or English news reporters. So I could keep all of these if I wanted to, or maybe I don't want all of these. So maybe I don't want to do this mystery box thing. So I can just delete this one. I can delete some of these ideas, and then I could bring this to students and say, do you want to do? Or maybe we have different groups who are doing different activities. So it can help you come up with these activities, whether you're going to choose it or whether you're going to offer that choice to students. Okay, the third question I have here is, how can you help your students improve? So after you've gotten to know them, you've given them a lot of choice in their learning, and they've produced wonderful things using these multimedia tools. Also just want to encourage lots of feedback. And I know you already give your students feedback. And one thing I love about Padlet is allows you to give many more cycles of quick feedback. So whether it's you giving the feedback or whether you're allowing students to give each other comments and feedback. So this is one of our simplest kinds of boards where it's all text, but still really engaging because students are interacting with each other. So in this case, it's the question is, should we use artificial intelligence at school? So you can ask them an interesting question like that. And then students could come here and answer in text. Come to the plus sign here, you can see I turned off all the attachments. And again, that's with this fields button. And so we're just having a text discussion, and then other students could comment with text and say what they think. So even just doing that kind of simplest version all in text can be a really nice way to get that feedback from each other and have those ideas shared. And then another example here. This is from a teacher who was practicing writing letters with her students. So she had students write a letter to somebody in their life, a friend or their parents, and just write it in the text here of the post. And then the teacher came in and gave some detailed feedback on each of these things. And so really easy for a teacher to come in. Some of the feedback might even be similar, like, checking your punctuation might apply to multiple people, and you could give them really specific targeted feedback. And then the student could even rewrite it right here in the box or make a new post or comment on their own post. And they could just get that immediate feedback. And for a teacher, you're not collecting all the papers, marking them all up, passing them back, and taking all that time. And not only does it save you time to do it quickly here on a Padlet, but allows the students to get the feedback much quicker. And then you can do more cycles of feedback. They can learn more and progress more, and also feel like their contributions and their work is meaningful and for a purpose. I know that when I had assignments with my students, if they knew I was going to read it right away, they would try longer, or especially if they knew their peers were going to see or read their work, they would be much more invested and much more careful about doing a good job. We used to do paper journals every week, and it was one of my favorite things. We would write each other letters in actually a physical notebook, and I would bring them home and write them. And I think that's still a wonderful thing to do. So if you are still doing things like that, that's great. And this is just another option for practicing a certain skill, reinforcing syntax, grammar, vocabulary, figurative language, whatever you're working on, a way to quickly reinforce those ideas. Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. Can they only see their feedback? So there's a few different ways to do that in Padlet. I think that probably the easiest way is to have them do that auto remake link that I mentioned, so that you're actually giving them their own copy of a Padlet. Otherwise, they would be able to see each other's feedback. And so sometimes you might want that because maybe the shared feedback is helpful. But yes, a lot of times you might private feedback and then doing an auto remake link. So they'll have their kind of own area of a Padlet where they just see their own personal feedback. Great question. Okay. All right, so next I would love to share a Padlet that just kind of has all of these Padlets on it and love to hear some more of your ideas. So I'm going to put this landing page into the Padlet. And on this one, I would love for you to comment on any of these Padlets you thought were interesting. So you can come over here and say, I'd love to try an All About Me page for my students. Or you might have another idea that's related. Like maybe you want to have them make a graphic or make a video or interview each other. And my hope for you all is that maybe one or two of these ideas stands out to you and that you can take it away and try it with your students. So if you want to come over here, you can also like any of the ideas. And you can click back into, these are all the ideas that I just showed you on the other page. So you might want to say, oh, I would like to try writing practice on Padlet. So go ahead here and like anything you thought was interesting and go ahead and comment on anything that you might like to try in your class. Thank you. Here I'm on the right one. Thank you. Just had an extra copy of that one. All right. Well, thank you for commenting. Beginning workshop with their favorite song. That's always a really popular one. People love to share their musical ideas. When I did this with some middle schoolers a few months ago, they were very engaged and there was sort of a buzz in the room hearing what each other's songs were. Well, it seems like that one's popular. A few comments on that one. While you all are commenting and thinking about these ideas, I just wanted to pop over to Julia and see if there's any questions that you wanted to highlight.
No, I think most of the questions have been answered. We did have a chat in the Q&A about me templates that are better for maybe adult learners. So we were just kind of talking about making a copy of your template maybe and adjusting that to make it more appropriate for a different group of folks. I think there's also, if you make a board, you can make your own template. So I think there's a lot of ways you can use templates to your advantage here.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, we have a lot of options in Padlet to use our templates in different ways, modify them. I'll also point out this gallery of, we have some featured templates here, and we have some general education and business templates here. So you can explore these a little bit too, and find a template that you like. And all of these, you can take it and then modify it. Sometimes I start with one of these templates, and sometimes I like to just from scratch and make my own template. So you can see what makes the most sense. Also, if you have a suggestion for a template that you'd really like us to build, we would love to hear your ideas. And we're always trying to add more things that'll be most relevant to you. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you as we wrap up with some final resources is any of these Padlets that I've showed you today, you can make a copy of. So for example, if I like this one, I showed you how to make this one, but this one's already here. If you'd want to just make a copy of it, you can come up to this on here in the upper right with these two arrows pointing at each other, and you can click on it and you can make your own copy of this. You can also decide if you want to make a copy of all the objects or just the admin only objects. So you might have something that you're sharing with students and you just want a clean copy of it with just the initial kind of prompt, and then you can make a copy of just those things. And you can do the same thing. So that's going to make a copy of that. So that's a sandbox. You can do the same thing on a Padlet as well, or on this Padlet. I have this same icon here in the upper right. And same thing, I can choose to make admin only copy, so not include all the comments and things. And I also have that option. I can keep the comments or not copy them, and then I can remake that. So really encourage you, if you liked any of these resources, you can make a copy right now for your own account, and you can try this out with your students. All right, well, to wrap us up, it always goes by quickly. Thanks for joining us today. We have a few resources to close out. The first thing, I would love to hear any feedback that you have in our feedback form. As I was mentioning, if you have ideas for templates or other features or tools that you think would be really useful, please put that as well. And I'm just going to share this so it's really easy to see for you all. 1 second here. I'm just remembering how to do this here in Big Marker. Here we go. Okay, so you should have that feedback form there now. I also put it in the chat. If you want to click on that and share just your quick thoughts, anything that was helpful or anything different or more that you would like to see in a future session. We also have some more sessions coming up the next 2 Wednesdays, the 20th and the 27th. You can come find out more about Padlet. And on our Padlet webinar sessions page, we have lots of sessions. We will put the recording for this session there as well. But if you want to check out any of our past sessions, you can do that too. And then the last thing I want to share for you is we have some PD courses. So especially if you're newer to Padlet or if you just want to become more of an expert at Padlet, we have a couple of courses here, a 101 kind of basics course, and then an all about AI course. And these are videos, and then you can submit a Padlet and get a certificate once you complete that course. Well, we are at time. If you have more questions that you think of later or that we didn't get to, email us at hello@padlet.com. We'd love to hear from you and hope to see you at a future session. Thanks for coming by today. Okay, bye-bye, everyone.